Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Strategy Game Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Shippey, and today we are continuing our Weeds in the Way series. And this is part of the book that I wrote called Seen, Known, and Heard and How It Changes Everything. And this is the very first weed in the way that we're going to go through. So just for some context, if you missed that episode, the weeds in the way are things that I got thinking about that can hold us back, that through our own life experiences, woundedness, things that have really stood in the way from us and freedom / running in our purpose or our best self. So the first one is stubbornness. And when I looked up the definition of stubbornness, it really hit me. And here's part of what I wrote. I wrote, stubbornness is clinging to something that is long past. It's the unyielding refusal to change your mind about a situation or a person that has negatively affected you. And it's easy to be stubborn about many things, but the longer I live and experience hurt in this world, I'm finding that there are very few things that are actually worth being stubborn about. And so that really stands out to me because I think we're in a season and we're in a year, we're coming up on an election season. And the first thing that actually comes to mind with stubbornness is just politics. And this is not something I really love to talk about, but I think that it's something that's happening in our world and it's really relevant. And I think it's going to impact a lot of us in this coming season. So stubbornness is really clinging to something with an unyielding refusal to change your mind about a situation or person that has negatively affected you. If you think about our political leaders, whichever way you lean, you probably feel pretty strongly one way or the other with an unyielding refusal to change your mind. Not all of us. There are some that are in the middle and some that are saying, hey, I see both sides of the situation. I see, that either way we go in terms of a presidential election, there will be downsides and there are difficult things about either individual or either party. But I think there are others that really, really struggle and feel so strongly that it's actually connected to the deepest core of them, like their deepest held beliefs, and it feels like they are being violated by the other party. I want to encourage you to take a minute and think about where that violation is happening for you. If this is you, if you feel extremely triggered by the other side, there's something in you, there's some kind of stubbornness that is an unyielding refusal to and it's not even about necessarily changing your mind and switching over to the other party or the other person, but it's actually about you, and it's actually about the work that you have the opportunity to do here. What is triggering me the most? Where do I feel violated? And what is like encroaching so much on my personal beliefs that it is creating this stubbornness within me? And I was, recording a podcast episode a while back with a guest, and you're having a conversation about core beliefs. And the contributor was saying that there are very few core beliefs that we will cling to that actually are non-negotiable when examined carefully. And it's so interesting because I think that there can be a lot of surface level stubbornness floating around in ourselves that is actually preventing us from greater connection with others. And it's almost like this form of legalism that keeps us glued to this, to this invisible almost code of ethics that we have in our mind. And we haven't maybe necessarily actually written this out to be able to unpack what it really looks like and what we actually believe. And this is the stuff that, we can avoid because we're so busy and we've got so much going on, and, there are so many other things to do. But this is where critical thinking comes in really handy. And this is where the elimination of distraction comes in really handy, and is really important. And maybe even just carving out 15 to 30 minutes, whether that's early morning or late at night or midday, whatever your best think time is, and just saying, hey, I'm actually just gonna take some time and list out the things that I feel really, really stubborn about, the things that I feel really unyielding about. And at least if you circle around it and you write it out, however you feel about it, then you know why you feel that way. And you know maybe where that came from. And it's probably connected to a story somewhere in your life, something that happened where you thought, I am never going to do this again, or I'm I strongly feel this way because of this, right? And so I would just encourage you, as you're going through this, as you're thinking about the things that you feel really unyielding about, to write them down, get them out of your subconscious mind, bring them into your conscious mind, and consider them. And this requires a level of surrender. And actually, all of these weeds in the way that we're going to go through require a level of surrender, because it requires you to say, hey, these things that I hold so closely, I'm going to put them on the table. I'm going to open up my hands and I'm going to put them on the table, and I'm going to look at them, and I'm going to see, I'm going to put them out. I'm going to separate them from me and actually like put them in the middle of the table. And then I'm going to look back at them and say, do I really believe that? Or why do I believe that? Or what happened to make me feel so strongly about this? And what happens when someone hits that nerve or hits that trigger to me? What am I actually thinking about there? What core memory does that actually bring up for me? And then you'll be able to understand why you feel that way. And when you put it on the table, you might realize that you don't feel as strongly about the particular thing, but it's more about the trigger or the core memory or the woundedness that maybe you have to confront and wrestle with and deal with. And then, maybe it opens up space to at least just have conversation with others. You don't have to agree and you don't have to change your mind, but you'll know where you stand and why. And you might be able to even see the other side, even though you don't agree, and that's okay. But it takes away some of the walls that stubbornness can create. So ultimately, our whole purpose of, pulling up some of these weeds in the way is to create, to lessen resistance and to create space to hold others' opinions and beliefs, and to be able to hear them, but yet not be so triggered by them, because you can say, well, that's you and this is me, and that's okay. And I can understand how you might, think that way, and it's different from me, because you'll understand the root of where that stubbornness is coming from, or that unyielding refusal. And what I've discovered, as I said, as I wrap up this episode, is that I've realized that there are very, very few things to be unyielding about in this life. I think the more life experiences I go through, the more I realize that your perspective can be changed in a moment. And a lot of it happens around the table in conversations with people face to face. So if I could encourage you to do anything walking away from this episode, it would be to really look at your stubbornness, just face it, and and bring it out of your subconscious mind and figure out what's going on. And not only will it serve your relationships, but it will really serve you well. And that's part of our goal at Storywork. So thanks for listening in. And for more, you can head to www.storywork.co.